on a different set of morals and principles, and you guys just don't line up. And I think family simulates those people that you're going to encounter in life anyway. So if you can't make that adjustment in your family, you're going to have a tough time in the world on your own too, because when people show you who they are, they show you who they are. And regardless if you are related to them or not, you get to pick and choose where they fit in your life. So trust and loyalty, is a barometer on that, because some people are more needy than others. You may not be equipped to deal with other people's needs.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Antoine, do you think that it's okay for people to mistreat people?
Not at all.
Do you think it's okay for family to mistreat family?
No.
Would you take crap from someone in the street who mistreated you?
No.
Would you take crap from a family member and be loyal to them if they mistreat you?
Yeah, I'd be loyal, but I would definitely check them.
So see, that's the difference. And that's where me and Vic see similar. I understand that I have family. I can still love them, but I can love them from a distance. I have to, at the end of the day, I have to focus on me and mine and the people who care and support me. If those people are going to treat me like crap, or they have negative energy, or they're just not about anything, or they're always wanting a handout, like, I don't mind helping people, but I'm not going to be taken advantage of.
I agree with that. I agree. No, I agree.
I've helped family members and relatives, and I would help them again today. At the same time, it's because I want to help somebody, not because it's my family. Now, yes, there is a little nepotism in there. At the same time, if I can help somebody, why not help somebody that I know needs it? So that's why if I got $5 or something like that, I personally would rather give it to a family member than somebody on the street. That's just me. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with giving money to people on the street. But like I said, even though I may not like someone in my family, whatever like that, I understand that people are in situations. And like I said, if there was an opportunity for me to help and plant a financial seed or something like that into somebody's life, then I would rather do it with somebody that I know. So with that being said, greetings, Mr. Christopher. How are you today?
I'm well. What's going on, fellas?
What's up,
going on?
What's up, buddy?
How are you? Strong.
That too. But I said it last week. I'm reflective. I'm still going back and thinking about some things, reflecting on the way life was. And man, self-accountability is a bitch.
Sheesh. Why do you think some people run from it?
Man, listen, self-accountability
like cats in a water bottle and in a spray bottle.
The only way to move forward. It's the only way to move forward.
Right. And it's like you can't lie to yourself.
No.
You can't lie to the dude you look at in the mirror every day. So yeah, I'm reflective. But like I said, man, the more things that I logic my way through, the lighter I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then some of those dots, the more information you get, the more dots get connected. You know what I mean? You remember like the connected dots, blah, blah. I look at like life as like a big, huge connected dot, right? So the more information, as long as you keep going, 18, 19, as long as you keep going, eventually you're going to the more dots you connect, the clearer the picture becomes. You know what I mean? Sense. Exactly. So life is like every time you get a little nugget, every time you jump on the Unkle Junior Network and you get some seeds from Coach or Vic or Antoine or somebody like that, like those things. And the thing about it is because life is not as clear, but it becomes more clear the more dots you connect. It's like the dots don't necessarily have to be line up. You know what I mean? They don't have to go 18, 19, 20. Something may go 18, 20, 7, 34. But at the end of the day, it's all going to connect and it's going to create this beautiful, ugly, abstract type picture of your life. And when you look back on it, it's going to be freaking amazing.
Right.
And you're like, I did that. You be like, it was hard, but I got on path, and I went through this and I went through that. And you can look back and be like, bro, I'm here.
I did it.
But not only that, you start to forgive a lot of people, and you start to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, man.
Because you ain't perfect and nobody else is.
But it's harder to forgive. It's harder to forgive yourself than anything. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody says anything about that. Nobody says that this process is like tearing off a limb that you need to survive. Like nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
Yourself is a hard one, man.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a walk in the mind.
I remember I carried something. I'm not going to say what it is, but I carried something for years, man. I mean, years. Something that I had. Hold on, my camera going up. Something. I guess it. Hold on.
Is it doing the autofocus thing?
Yeah, man. I don't know how I redid everything. There you go. And then it all messed up. But man, back to the show. I might edit that out later. But anyway, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Fix the tapes.
I remember a long time ago, man, it was something I held on for 10, probably 20 years, man. I held on to something, man. And I remember I finally had a conversation with my dad about it. And he was like, bruh, that ain't had nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? It was like that weight was lifted off, man. But I was carrying like issues. Like I was carrying issues because I left home. You know what I mean? So I left home and I did X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So I felt like I left people behind. You know what I'm saying? Dad was like, nah, they ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? He was like, you know, I ain't giving too much, but he was just like, that ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? So
I think there's a different type of blame that you carry depending on what the journey is. You know what I'm saying? Like if you did a lot of damage along the way, you're gonna handle your reconciliation different, right? I think that a lot of the times you have to forgive yourself because you didn't know the information that was missing. You know what I'm saying? And you weren't the one with all the experience.
Or the person the person that you transgressed against forgave you, so you don't have anything to feel guilty about.
Right. And
don't nobody talk about that, man. I'm telling you, nobody talks about that part.
That's a freaking silver bullet right there.
Yeah, some people just don't know how to mind
somebody. Ignore somebody, bro. Look, I'm gonna tell you like this, straight up. Me and my wife went to go see Meg 2. This was Sunday. We went to the early movie, like 9 something in the morning, right? So we get in there, beginning of the movie, you know, all the credits going, yada, yada, yada. And I'm getting to know it because it's like 2 ladies and a little girl like behind me, older than me. And they just yapping, just talking and talking. The little girl talking, they all talking. I'm just like, man, like, I hope they shut up when the movie starts. So I was like, all right, the show ain't started, so it is what it is. Show start, 30 seconds go by, a minute go by. Shell like start looking around, looking back, right? I'm just like, I just turn around like, look, ladies, are y'all gonna talk the whole movie? Then they start yapping and still kind of saying some little stuff under their breath, right? So then after the movie, we walk out and she like, could you hear all right? Did you hear the movie okay? I ain't say nothing. Then, did you hear the movie okay? Then the girl was like, I heard it. And then she was like, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to him. Bro, I just kept it moving, bro. It felt so good to ignore her, not to give her no energy, no none of that. You know what I mean? She the one who looked like the fool. Lady, you and you're 60 years old. You back there talking and teaching that little girl that it's okay to yip yap and run your mouth in the freaking movies while people in here trying to watch a movie. You want to talk? Go home and watch the movie. Talk all you want.
Like you have no home training. Like,
but look where they learning it from. She teaching them that. And that's why I just ignored her.
Right.
I'm
No,
sorry,
no,
fellas. I didn't mean to derail the conversation.
No,
I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no.
No, this is all part of it. I mean,
No, because like loyalty and trust.
yeah.
I think deal breakers on that is behavior.
We got like 4 more viewers since we started.
Like, man, look, behavior is a trust. You know what I'm saying? It's a deal breaker, and you know what I'm saying, in loyalty and trust. You trust somebody based on behavior. You're loyal to them based on their consistency, and if they got the discipline determines that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that people get evaluated by certain, like everybody's got their own individual vetting criteria. Like most of the things we talk about up here is really just vetting criteria for better relationships, up and down. You know what I'm saying? And better self-focus. Because the things that we evaluate relationships by are personal criteria as well. That's what you can only speak towards, you know? So I think that packaging it, you know, about packaging loyalty and trust, about proper vetting criteria, because you can't test your trust and loyalty unless you connect with people, you know?
You know what? Hold up. I got a question, and I think it'll fit right in here. So pause, and then if you want to jump on it first, feel free to do so. All right, so here's what I want to do. Can you share a specific experience or story that shaped your understanding of loyalty and its significance in your life as a man?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I would say you can't trust everybody with every single thing. I use like this scenario, like you can have 5 best friends, and it might be one friend that you can trust with everything, and one you can only trust with 1 or 2 things. You know what I'm saying? So like when you have a situation, like I had somebody watch my dog, you know, while I was working in Afghanistan, and they took pretty good care of my dog. But you don't abuse that relationship either, you know? So that helped me understand it, because I've had to, you know, like leave one of my pets before with somebody, and they didn't take the same level of care, you know, with them. That's just even on a small scale, you know what I'm saying? So I haven't been seriously violated to a degree that I didn't anticipate it. And I think that that's where it comes in. If somebody does something to you that you never saw them capable of doing, that's a little bit different than, you know, trusting somebody within a certain boundary and they just not coming through to some degree. I think, you know, like being violated versus being disappointed, there's a couple of things that have to go with that. But I would say, yeah, the specific story that shaped my understanding of loyalty is, you know, some people don't care about what they're not ultimately responsible for the way you do.
Yeah.
I'll give you an Army story from Private Martin. All right. So this was in 1996. So, you know, back then I was a hard-headed soldier, but one thing that I was always loyal to my squad, right? It was called Third Herd, right? That was us. I was loyal to my squad leaders. I had Sergeant Cooney, that was my guy. And I remember I had Sergeant Deneen. Bruh, straight loyal all the way, 100%. So what happened was I had to go on leave. I always kept my room clean. They never had any issues with my room. Always was clean. So what happened was I went on leave and I took a red-eye flight from Colorado to Virginia or DC or something like that, you know, late at night. So before that, I had cut somebody's hair, and then I just got into bed because it was late at night. He said, "Hey man, can you cut my hair real quick?" And I was like, "No, bro." I was like, "Man," it was like kind of begged me or whatever. So I cut dude's hair. After I cut his hair and stuff like this, man, I just left all this stuff on the floor. I probably just took a shower and went to bed. So I had a room by myself. I got up, you know, did everything. While I'm on leave, my homeboy Kenny called me and was like, "Look, man, Sergeant Deneen trying to put you in for the Article 15. Article 15 is like a disciplinary action, right?" And I'm like, "For what?" You talking about because your room was dirty, and he said he told you to clean it before you left. I'm like, they ain't tell me no such lie. You know, man. And then he was like, well, that's what he told, some first class risotto. And then, it just kept going up. So, but what happened was while I was on leave, they had moved a private into my room. So because they moved it private in my room and they saw that hair in there and they saw that my bed wasn't made, my boss got cussed out by his boss. You know what I mean? So the shit rolled downhill and I end up getting the brunt of it. So when I come back, we about a week or so from going to the field anyway. I get back, get rid of my Arca 15. I get demoted, probably, I don't know, maybe my second time or whatever like that. But he had lied about the whole thing. Like he had never told me to do that. Yes, my room should have been clean. No ifs, ands, or buts. But the fact that he lied to me, like, bro, I lost all respect for him. I lost all trust. And then I became no longer loyal to him. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. You know what I mean? And then when I was in there and I was getting demoted and stuff like this, and I was talking to the commander, and I'm like, the commander, I was like, he just lied on me. And I was like, if he told me that I was supposed to clean my room, then why didn't he come and check it? If that's was something that he told me to do. And the commander was like, he was like, yeah. He said, that's why I'm only giving you 9 days instead of 15 or instead of 14. So himself, in the back of his mind, he knew that wasn't right, but his feet was probably held to the fire. So I kind of lost a lot of trust and respect and loyalty and stuff like that, even for the military at that time. Yes, I got over some of that stuff, but that had a huge stain in my brain in the military for a long time. Like, I ended up getting out the Army because of stuff like that. You know what I mean? I ended up going back in and retiring, but still that really shaped, my understanding of loyalty, and that played a huge part in my life, going into my early adulthood.
I can see that. Cause like, it sounds small and petty now, but what are you responsible for at age, in your early 20s?
Yeah, I was like 19.
19, yeah. So like that whole situation is super fragile. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you got a child that's 6 years old, like you can break people at a different time. You know what I'm saying? You can't predict the outcome or how they respond to it. But that right there, it goes back to what I was saying before about behavior. That behavior right there deemed them to be untrustworthy to you. You know what I'm saying? So you can't put an ownership of loyalty on trust, because that's the compassion part. They didn't think about you as a human being. You know what I'm saying? They didn't at least give you a courtesy call. They went ahead and did whatever they was going to do, you know what I'm saying, before they even called you.
And it's like, go back to, what Antoine talked about in the beginning, the loyalty and the trust. And then I want Chris to jump on this question. The loyalty and the trust thing. Like after that, I couldn't be loyal to him anymore because I didn't trust him. I no longer trusted him. You know what I mean? So that's why, I think sometimes they don't work together, but sometimes they do. In this situation, they worked together. I could no longer be loyal to him. I did what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't loyal to him. I did it because that's what I was supposed to do. And if not, then there were repercussions. So, but I wasn't loyal to him at all.
But just so you guys understand when I ask you those questions, because for me, they're separated, right? I put more trust, emphasis heavily on trust than loyalty. Loyalty, it comes and goes. But if I trust you, I don't, because I always relate it to my art, because I draw with my back turned, so I have to trust what everybody's doing behind it, right? And that's why I put so much trust on that. But I'll let Chris give his take on it.
I don't think you can have one without the other.
Okay, so did you hear the questions in how I asked it?
No, not the one earlier. No, sir.
Okay, so can I just give him an update? What I want to know?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna move this question off. We can come back to this later. Let's go back to where we started at the beginning.
I might be able to tie them both together, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'm saying this.
I'll
is
leave it
what-
up here where Antoine talks, and if you can connect the two, that's fine. If not, it ain't gonna be no issue being up here.
Right, right.
Okay.
So my thing is this: let's say, and it doesn't pertain to only your relationship or your significant other. I'm talking in general. Do you put loyalty and trust? Do you separate the two? And if you had to separate if you do separate the two, how much do you put on trust and how much do you put on loyalty? What do you value more?
That goes back to my original statement, but I will value trust more because with trust comes loyalty. Like you can't have one without the other, I don't think. Like
So you don't think, wait, let me just ask you this. So you don't think you can trust someone with something without some form of loyalty involved?
Like I said, they're intertwined. You can't have one without the other.
Can you be loyal to somebody that you don't trust?
Absolutely not.
Can you trust somebody that you're not loyal to?
Yeah, that was my. I was going right
Can
there.
you trust somebody that you're not loyal to?
Not loyal to.
Okay. Well, this is me tying them both together. Then hold on. This is me tying them both together. Then, because given my background and what I have been through, I think I might have a distorted form of what loyalty might look like. So this might be the part where I learn, because from my experience growing up, family, people I thought were friends, women I thought loved me, for some strange reason, loyalty came with abuse. And it's not abuse like beat me down. It's abuse like I'm going to treat you any way that I want to because I hold a position in your life and you just got to take it because you're loyal to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I just might listen tonight because you remember when I said I was coming to a lot of uncomfortable truths? This is one of them. I might not know what loyalty is supposed to look like because all I have seen is the abusive side of it.
Look,
well, I think because if you've seen the abusive side of it, you can see what the other side is.
I was just about to say,
that's only happening now because I pulled myself out of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave it. But at the time, I didn't know. I'm unlearning those things. So, like I said, this is the part where I might listen because I was under the impression that loyalty looked like the distorted view that I had for the majority of my existence on this planet. And I'm coming into new information, so I got to rewire it.
yeah.
So this is the part where I just might listen.
I would say a good example of loyalty and trust, right, is just like think of loyalty as transactional. Let's just say everybody up here does the same thing, right? And we have the same capability to do the same thing. Trust comes in based on your dependability and availability. You know what I'm saying? And then that pivots off the loyalty part, right? But at any given moment in time, any person can step in and do the same thing that the other person can do, right? But when it comes down to trust, it's about that person's individual desire matching up with your intent. You know what I'm saying? Loyalty is like people are loyal to brands all the time, right? Loyalty is kind of like trendy for some people. They jump on what's hot, what looks good, whatever, right? But trendy people aren't loyal just by behavior. Then the nature of being trendy is just being, you know what I'm saying, easily influenced.
Whatever is out right now.
Whatever, like, and that's a transactional thing. And some people are loyal to more people are loyal to their own individual outcome. And if they can make it happen off of someone else's resources and effort, they'll do that. You know, they'll ride the wave all day because it's cost effective. You know what I'm saying? Why go make it when I can just buy it and put my name on it?
Okay, so let me just give you guys a little quick scenario of what happened to me. So in a nutshell. So working with someone, loyal and trust was there. Okay. Thought there might be a relationship developing there, which was great. The loyalty was she did her job well. Excellently well, right? But she broke the trust part that it could go further than what it was. So I would still work with her on a loyal basis because she did her job. I mean, her loyalty to what I was doing, what she was perfect. But the trust part on the other area, I could never forgive her for that. So you see what I mean? That's why I'm like, I separate the two from me. I'm able to separate
the compartmentalize.
Yeah. Because there's nobody else I would put in her position as far as loyalty into what I did.
You know she could do the job, but you wouldn't trust her with nothing else.
I wouldn't trust, but I wouldn't trust her in a relationship. I wouldn't trust her further than that. And it was unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just that's compartmentalizing.
Right. Right. So that's why I was asking.
But like I said, if we're gonna lowest common denominator, trust and loyalty are still synonymous because you trust her to do the job. So that's why you're loyal to her to do the job.
Yeah.
But you don't trust her in any other arena. So you're not loyal to her in any other arena. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So people say trust is earned, not given. I believe in that, right? I believe in that saying. But in this situation, I had to separate the two. And I think that I believe everybody should separate the two. That's what I was asking. Because I don't have a forgiving bone when it comes. If it was in a relationship context, I don't have a forgiving bone, nor do I want one, like I said in the beginning.
But see, what you're doing right now, Antoine, that's kind of what I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn how to compartmentalize. You understand what I'm saying? Because see, you still have that person around because you trust that person to do a job. Yeah. But you only trust her over there. You understand what I'm saying? You don't trust her over here. I'm just now learning that type of discernment. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of us don't have that. That's why I said earlier that my view of loyalty might be a little distorted. Because I'm just now figuring out how to compartmentalize.
But this goes back to what
I put a hard stance on. I put a very hard, like infidelity. I don't think any man should forgive any woman, and no matter how deep they're in business, love, relationship, marriage, 30, 40 years, kids. I think when it comes to that level of commitment to someone and it's broken, there's no way in hell I believe any man should try to make that work, because it's like a precious vase. Every so often, the light will shine on it to remind you of that crack that you broke it. And I don't think you should live your life waiting for that, looking forward to that sun shining on that crack so you can remember all the shit you went through to forgive her or her to forgive you. That's what I'm saying.
I think loyalty in a I think it just depends on the environment, right? Like say if we all worked at the same place, you have to buy in to the workplace philosophy. You know what I'm saying? If it's we go to this place and it's called one team, one fight, then that's supposed to be the thing that orients us when we're not certain about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? When somebody says if you see something, say something, that's a loyalty to an ideal. You know what I'm saying? It's like a religion, like a team philosophy. You know what I'm saying? You're loyal to a concept of the same ideal. Trust, when that gets exercised along the same ideal, it'll tell you where people's morals and principles are. Because loyalty, you can repeat, like loyalty is like being able to repeat something, and trust is about being able to live it. It's about the difference between practicing what you preach. You know what I'm saying? Because you can preach something that you understand and that you know verbatim, but trust is going to determine if you live what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? So like, I think it's important to separate the empathetic component of the two. Like, you trust people where you can trust them in. You don't go get you know what I'm saying, an opinion about let's say hockey from somebody that only watches NASCAR. You might be loyal to that person, but can you trust their opinion?
No.
And what is it rooted in? Like, and then trust and loyalty is based off of bias too, which all of this still comes back to morals and principles, and like in how you was raised and how, you know what I'm saying, you carry your individual morals and principles into the world, because everybody gets the information that they believe is right from underneath their own roof, right? And then you take what you're being taught, and then you go outside, and if it works for you, you're going to have outcomes that reflect it. If it doesn't work for you, you're going to have outcomes that reflect it. If you meet certain types of friction, if all your relationships end the same way, you probably weren't taught something that makes you relatable to most people.
But do you think I don't want Garfield to answer this too, because he's in a committed, loving marriage. No, you're in a marriage, so that's like you signed the dotted line. You ain't going nowhere. Do you think that you could forgive somebody enough to trust them again? To stay where you're at?
Absolutely. It all depends on what it is. As long as those certain boundaries are not crossed.
Okay, so that's what I mean. So let's say the boundaries are crossed. It's a dead no, right?
Yeah, if you're talking about something below, like you got the non-negotiables, and then everybody got deal breakers, right? And that's the whole point of having a deal breaker. If you break the deal, it's over with, right? But like trust and loyalty below that, it's just usually the human element, making mistakes, not, you know what I'm saying, not being consistent. That's why I wrote that down, and you know what I'm saying, in the trust part. Like, you have to believe that the person wants the same outcome as you. Loyalty is the thing that makes that person say the loyalty part is about what strokes your ego versus what restores your confidence in somebody else. Because sometimes loyalty is just business, bro. Like, you could be loyal to you might not know anybody at Amazon, but you trust Amazon and their consistency, and they, you know what I'm saying, to get your package there. You don't know anybody there. You don't know anybody that you know, that farms the groceries that you buy from your local grocery store, but you trust blindly that they're not giving you pesticide filled, you know what I'm saying, food.
Trust that seat you sitting in.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
To hold you up.
Even after you put it together.
But you're not, hey,
but
here's the thing though. Here's the thing though, with that chair, you're not loyal to that chair.
You ain't loyal to it, though.
You're loyal to the security that chair gives you. You at minimum, you hope, because that's what loyalty has, hope in it. I hope that you do what you say you're gonna do.
But
trust is.
Let me ask you this:
I'm not gonna micromanage what you said you was gonna do.
So
you see the difference?
Yeah, I get that. But since Chris, you're coming from a jaded point of view, right, of your loyalty and trust, is what you're saying. So would you say that moving forward, which one would you put more stress on? That because of your experience with both, which one would you put more emphasis on to kind of like, you know?
Honestly,
yeah,
trust.
honestly.
Like I said in the beginning, trust, because of how difficult it is for me to trust. You understand what I'm saying? So if and like I said, man, with trust and loyalty trust and loyalty go hand in hand. I just believe that I don't believe you can have one without the other. But the emphasis for me right now in this stage is trust. I gotta trust you.
I would go with that too. If I had to, I think they work closely together. But if I had to separate two, I would say the trust too. And I think that Charlotte Jordan made a good point. She said there are people that I trust, but our relationship doesn't require me to be loyal to them. You know what I mean? I think that's true.
Yeah, so you can separate the two. I agree with that. That's what I believe. I don't think it always goes hand in hand.
I think it's very situational. I think there are some generalities, but I think there are also some distinct separation between the two in certain situations.
Okay.
Antoine, you got something else, or you want me to go to another question?
Go to another question. This is good. I like whatever.
All right, Antoine, here we go. Societal expectations. You know what? Let's hit some true false questions. I got 10 of them. I know I'm starting early. We can always go back to something else.
Yeah,
but I saw a couple of them in here that was good. All right. So the first one is this. True or false? Loyalty is a universal concept that holds the same meaning across all cultures and societies.
I'd say false.
Elaborate.
I would say some countries, your loyalty and your trust is more emphasized than how we view it here in the Western world. Like loyalty to them is like that. You can end up dead. That we don't have that kind of
I think it's false, and I think we can look at this panel and see the difference, in how Antoine, is loyal to like his relatives and his family and stuff like that. Whereas me and Vic may kind of separate the two. You know what I mean? Between relatives and family. Whereas you kind of, if I'm related to them, they family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the comment that I put in there. I had already answered it in advance. Didn't even realize it.
I don't see the comments.
That loyalty is based on like-minded ideals. So I think this question is like the way it's worded, it can go either way. Because it says loyalty is a universal concept that holds the same meaning across all cultures and society. The intent is true because that is utopia.
Right.
What makes it false is that it's not the same from culture to culture. You know what I'm saying? But because like you know what I mean? It's like people that live in one part of the world function a way, you know what I'm saying, function differently than people in the opposite part of the world. So they still have like-minded ideas that might occur underneath different principles and morals.
See, that's why I would say it's true.
See what?
Because when you base level it, the concept is the same, no matter how you look at it. It just looks different depending on who you're looking at.
That's a good trick.
The concept itself is the same. But like you said, Vic, that's utopia.
Yep.
Everybody thinking the same way about the same thing. Like I said, man, I'm a lowest common denominator, bottom of the barrel dude. If you base level it, the concept of loyalty, I would say it's the same across all cultures and societies. It just looks different depending on the culture or society you're looking at.
It's like religion. You know, people don't practice the same belief system the same way. But if they are a devout, you know what I'm saying, follower of whatever said belief, and somebody else is a devout follower, their points of contention might be rooted in certain verses or certain texts within that religious, you know what I'm saying, construct that still make them at odds. They like all of them can say they're a devout believer in whatever system it is that they all share, but have completely differing morals and principles based off that same, you know, ideal, you know.
Right.
So
right.
when it comes down to it, they run their houses different, you know what I'm saying? So like all people just don't move the same way, man. It's just about how you raised.
All right, I'm gonna pause. I want to go back to a question I just thought of because I thought about it, you know, when I was doing the notes and stuff like this, but I forgot about it. So now I remembered it. Do you think that people can be loyal to a fault? And if so, explain.
Yeah.
RICO charges.
I mean, you talking that element?
Yeah, like
what did you say? I didn't hear it. Sorry.
RICO charge
in Scooby-Doo terms.
What does that mean?
Basically, when you charge one person, one person for a crime, you can charge everybody that's involved in the crime. It's pretty much how they take down mafias and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Gangbangers, they loyal to the fault.
Get out of my head because I was about to say, man,
no,
cats
I
for a hood that they ain't paid for every day.
People that get abused are loyal to a fault.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Anything that you repeat that's unhealthy, you could be not loyal to a person. You can be loyal to a process that doesn't work.
All right. So give me an example where someone may be loyal. Well, actually, do you think someone can be loyal to a fault and not know it? Like, do you think they can be like they cannot know? Like, the damage that they're causing their life because they're being so loyal to it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Program.
OnlyFans women.
Oh, shit.
What you mean?
They're loyal to the
Oh.
OnlyFans, and at the same time, they want a normal life after it's all said and done and washed up and dried up.
And you know what's funny? Antoine is right, because I have seen so many
They think they're gonna
videos. Hold on, but wait a
miraculously
minute, Antoine. But wait a minute,
Sorry.
Antoine. You do have a point, because I've seen a lot of OnlyFans girls or ex-OnlyFans girls get on YouTube and tell people not to do OnlyFans because they did OnlyFans, they can't have a normal life. But they were loyal to that dollar at the time because they were in the rut that they were in.
You remember what I said earlier? I said loyalty was transactional.
See,
And
and you know what's funny? Some cats is loyal to that OnlyFans account because they pay every month to look at it.
Transactional. Again, transactional. You understand what I'm saying? Because loyalty is for sale. Like there's like when we talk about blind loyalty, right? When we talk about blind loyalty, we're talking about negative outcomes. There's nobody that's successful that was blindly loyal to anything. People are loyal to what makes sense in their heads, the utopia that they operate off of, and the adjustment that they make. You know what I'm saying? Trust is about like vetting criteria for deception, vetting criteria for what's the most ideal space for this individual or this institution to play the best role in my life, and me to play the best role in his life. And that's why blind loyalty is like being loyal to an institution. You know, when you say, oh, you're a company man where you work at, right? That's nothing says blind loyalty like that, you know? And I think in that situation right there, yeah, blind loyalty is completely unhealthy. And eventually you'll become a villain.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There you go, folks. Men are generally more loyal to their friendships than women are to theirs.
Are you serious? That's a question.
You
really want to do this on this Wednesday
what a
night?
landmine.
Is that a trick question? Because that's
Right,
easy.
like,
Hey,
are you trying to get all of us in trouble tonight?
Hey, anybody want to answer for me? Because y'all already know my answer.
But look, I'm gonna need some context behind it because we still got 25 more minutes. So this ain't just true, false, drop, and then roll on to the next question.
I'll speak last.
No.
Oh boy. Okay. Ooh. I would
So I would say
I'm gonna mute my mic.
even before we answer this question, at the end of the day, we're answering these questions based off of our experience, based off of our connections, based off of, and it's our opinion. Good, bad, indifferent. You can like it, you can lump it, but everybody has an opinion, and it's okay to have an opinion, whether or not you agree with it or not. This is a true, false question. Anybody can in the chat. Feel free to answer it as well. So, like I said, Antoine is going to give us his opinion and context behind why he chose true or false on whether or not men are generally more loyal to their friendships than women are to theirs.
This is a good question, man. I'm stumped right now. Okay, so based on my experience, right? I would God damn, this is a good one. I would have to say that is false. That is false. I have to be honest. I think that, like I said, I believe that men are dogs. You give them a long leash, they'll piss and shit everywhere. You give them a short leash, they'll piss and shit right next to you. Women are like cats, temperamental. You have to stroke them right all the time. And I believe that women stroke other women's egos right all the freaking time. And they'll always come back to their girlfriend. The sister code is strong. That's how I'm going to answer that one. I gotta say that.
I am going to say false. However,
Really?
I'm sorry. I'm only going to say false because of this. I've seen it. I've seen lifelong girlfriends like actual ride or die friends grow up together and actually still be crew. So I know it's possible, but I'm also gonna say true, because the good majority of your friends, ladies, they probably don't even like you because they're not even telling you the truth about what's going on around you. Stop it. They pander to you. That's really all it is. Antoine has a point. The sister code is real. I really listen, man. Listen. The conversations that I've been involved in, hearing how these women talk, oh, Jesus, and then how they talk about the person that they were just talking to behind that person's back in another room. Man, listen, man. I'm sorry. But like I said, I'm split down the middle because I've seen it happen. But I know the other side happens more often.
Man, everybody's got a relative experience, but I'm gonna say by and large, women have no code, and men are more loyal to their friendships than women are to theirs. And let me tell you why. Because mothers compete with their daughters for the same men. You don't see fathers and sons compete for the same women.
See,
And when you get down into it, this is like what a split in sexual discipline is for me. You know what I'm saying? Because mothers that raise the type of people that we're talking about, they usually raise the type of people we're talking about without men in their life. Men learn trust and loyalty. The men that are loyal and trustworthy, and the women that are loyal and trustworthy, and they share similar moral code, right? So sexually undisciplined people that I've talked to Antoine about this, I've talked to Chris, I've talked all of this, you know what I'm saying, in the background, right? Women compete for the worst men to get pregnant by at a 5-to-1 rate. So women are competing.
Statistically speaking, there are twice as many baby moms as there are baby dads.
Yeah. Think about it. 58% of men are single and childless. And less than 20% of men have multiple baby mamas. And 80% of babies are had out of wedlock with just these 16% of men. So the ratio is 5-to-1. Okay. We got too many competitive, unhealthy relationships between women over the worst men. So if 5 women are competing for the worst man, how can you say that women have a better trust with each other?
Think
about that before you answer, because we're talking about things that can be proven. We're talking about outcomes.
Right. No.
We have TV shows that are dedicated to who's the father, and women not even knowing who they had sex with. We got, and y'all Van Zandt.
You have the reality TV shows.
Reality TV shows are based on
that
women
y'all love so much.
Reality TV shows only exist because women don't like each other.
That's funny.
Crickets.
That's funny.
Men trust each other more because they play sports together. That's like
hold on, Vic.
Of loyalty.
Hold on, Vic. I gotta throw this out there.
Throw it out there.
Because you saying all of this right now gives everyone listening to this that doesn't agree with you permission to put you in a box that you have absolutely no business in. This is not an attack on women
at all.
This is not an attack on women. This is an attack on the behavior that we see y'all do, that y'all know y'all do, but nobody calls y'all out on it. This is not about you. This is not woman bashing. This is behavior bashing.
Behavior.
Okay, but I just want to say, like, I'm not going to defend that. I'm not going to deny what you're saying as far as the statistics and all that. But in my experience growing up, I've seen more men go after the boys' girls than, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, it's just, I've seen men go after these guys, even after they break up. The loyalty is you don't go after your friend's girl. And I've seen guys do that.
That's relative, though. But we're talking about what like, you got to understand, you have to base what we're saying off what we can see.
Right.
If they bad behavior gets monetized, who do you see getting marketed to with bad behavior being the norm. We
Oh,
got
no, you're right.
we got songs that say, you know what I'm saying, the coochie pink and the booty hole brown. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, Jesus H.
they got an anthem. They got anthems. They twerking on the headlights. You see what I'm saying? Like, is that behavior, you know what I'm saying, like, okay?
No.
Okay, so show me the dudes that's probably doing the same behavior. They raised by the women that raised those people that got the, you know what I'm saying, the coochie pink and the booty hole brown. They the same people.
No, I agree with that.
You see, this is why I say, like, when it comes down to behavior, only a certain type of people are going to produce a certain type of behavior. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you look at that, who do you see doing these things more? You got to think women pander to women first and the most. Men don't pander to men. Not like that, because you still got to be your own man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got your Kevin Samuels, you got your people that follow, you know, whoever internet personality they follow, but ultimately that doesn't determine if they can connect with their friends. Like, I got relationships that are 30-some years old, and we ain't never had a beef, never had an argument about nothing. You know what I'm saying? But you see women ending relationships because somebody wore the wrong shoes at the wedding.
Hey, so who said true and who said false?
Oh,
I said I'm split down the middle.
You split?
I believe in personal experience, and I think it's true that men are generally more loyal to their friendships than women are to theirs.
Mm-hmm. Generally, I have to agree. But I was going off my own experience of what I've seen. So,
all right. Well, if you're saying generally and speaking in a general phase, I would say true too.
Yeah.
Women have no code.
True. Loyalty and blind obedience are synonyms, often leading to unhealthy relationships.
True.
That's what they want to teach you.
That's true.
That's what society wants to teach you, that loyalty and blind obedience are synonymous, but they are not. I'm asking questions.
It's on the person.
And it does lead to unhealthy relationships. So that part of it is true.
That part is true.
That's how I looked at it, like false and then true.
Undefined loyalty and blind obedience are synonymous. You know, if you don't have boundaries, you know, like, it doesn't matter which word you choose. So that part right there definitely makes it synonymous.
You know, you said boundaries a lot tonight. We got to talk about what these boundaries. I want to hear what boundaries you guys really mean when you say boundaries, because that's such a word everybody uses, and I'm like, what's your boundaries?
I see what you're saying. It's starting to turn into a buzzword.
No, but every time I say boundaries, you guys say I'm extreme on my boundaries, but your boundaries seem to be crossing the line pretty good.
Don't bring your ass down here with this red light on, goddammit.
I'm just saying, I want to know what the boundaries are.
Don't bring your ass down here when this red light is on.
I think Antoine's boundaries. I think Antoine's boundaries, he communicates them in an extreme way, but in principle, there's nothing extreme about needing your space. You know what I'm saying? For you to create.
Like, I believe in black and white. I don't believe in the gray area. That gives me delay, denial, and excuses. That's how I look at it. It's either you like me or you don't. If you have to think about it, we're not going to get along anyway. So you just better go on with the don't. You know what I mean? I don't believe that whole, let me think about it. If you have to think about it, no problem. Think about it outside of the room or in the house, outside of the house somewhere. See, I believe in that.
Antoine has removed the editing system that men have.
Look, this is vetting criteria. Boundaries are vetting criteria, you know, about who you're going to trust and who you're going to be loyal to. Like, loyalty and blind obedience being synonymous and often leading to unhealthy relationships is true when you look at how some families crumble, because everybody was loyal to somebody's lie in a relationship. How many times have you seen where family, like, come on, man, you seen Color Purple before, right? And you remember when you know, Mr. was confiscating all of the letters, for those of you that seen it, and you know what I'm saying, she was writing letters trying to get in contact with her sister that she was separated from, and then she found all those letters. Somebody manipulated the situation, destroyed the family off of blind allegiance. You know what I'm saying? And it created a lot of unhealthy relationships in there. You know what I'm saying? So people, you can see it on Maury Povich. When they come out there and they say they get a guy that's supposedly the father and he's not the father, the audience boos and everything else, and then till the results come out, then everybody mad that he out there doing a typewriter like MC Hammer. You know what I'm saying? But you just booed him.
Oh man. Who listening to Keith Sweat?
Yeah.
That's the Antoine.
Listen, man, I unlocked my phone.
I didn't
and something came on. I didn't know what it was.
I thought it was Antoine.
Yeah.
No, man. I do love Keith Sweat, but I wouldn't do that to the show.
You look like a Keith Sweat loving dude.
Oh yeah,
somebody do the best signal.
Antoine, did you get your question answered about the boundaries and stuff?
No, because I figured you guys will make a show by that. Because I want to know what these boundaries are that you guys set. Because mine are, I always feel like every time I say my boundaries, I'm the extreme one, and I'm like, what do you guys think in a relationship?
Antoine,
I think it's kind of like what Vic said. It's your delivery.
You're not.
No one has a problem with your boundaries.
I don't think my delivery.
It's just sometimes your delivery. I don't have a problem with your delivery.
Listen,
I don't have a problem. Why do I have to sugarcoat my delivery?
Because
I'm not saying you, but I think for some
people that you like.
What?
Because it's somebody
you claim you like. You wouldn't talk to them. Listen, man. But Antoine, stop.
Okay.
Because listen. Your boundaries are not extreme, bro.
Nope, they're not at all.
They're base level, especially for what you do as a profession.
Right.
You're just a dick when you convey them.
Why is okay? What is okay? Now, no. This is good. This is
now
hear
me out.
Give me an example of that. Because if you guys could say that, back it up with something that I've said. That's a
look, go to the tapes. Just go to the tapes.
Rewind the tape. But I can't. I've been saying it every week.
You want to go to the tapes?
Bring your ass down here when this red light is on. I'm cussing you smooth out because
what
you
is wrong with that?
Hold on, but
Isn't
wait
that
a minute.
Clear?
That's true. But
you shouldn't be coming down, right?
That's true. But and you know what? I'm not saying you're supposed to change that boundary because that is a solid boundary that you need to be productive.
Right.
If she comes down there now, and to be honest, I'm on your side because if she comes down there more than once, after the first time, you can say, "Sweetheart, hey, I told you not to come down here on Peyton, go back upstairs." But after the second time, curse her out because she's pushing your boundary. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I get it.
So why was she an idiot on the first time she came down?
Because
she didn't know.
No,
but I
she
told
did
her
know. But wait a minute. She did know. She did know, but she was testing you. That's a test that. Listen, man. But it's not malicious. It's not malicious. It's not their fault. It's just what they do. They're goofy like that.
Like if we still if we still playing games and we married, I see where Antoine going. Like,
right.
We already talked about this. Why is it even a thought in your head to come down here when my light is on? Like, right. I don't understand.
I would do the same thing. I would curse her out too.
I'm pissed. I'm mid-stroke on my paint, and now I gotta cuss you out here. Now my paint dry. I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Now my paint dry. I can't think straight. The thought that I had in my head is gone because I'm sitting here talking to you about something you knew not to do. I understand. I would do the same thing.
But I guess what we're saying is this, and I guess what some people say is this. There is a way to say it. So, good, bad, or indifferent, some people like the softer, kinder approach when you tell them things. However, back to your point, Antoine, the woman that's with you is already going to understand that this is how you talk. And if she understands that this is how you talk and she chooses to still be with you and lay with you and have kids with you and stuff like this, then I ain't got no issue with it.
But I don't understand.
But most guys don't do that. Most guys start relationships being weak and simps and stuff.
They send the dude from the mailroom to represent them instead of the.
And that's exactly why she's coming down the stairs. That's exactly why she's coming down the stairs. It's like that's exactly why she's coming down the stairs because you guys are afraid to tell her don't come down the stairs. What don't you?
But see, that's the thing, and that's the thing, and that's why I agree with you because most women have never been introduced to the word consequence. You understand what I'm saying? The consequence of her bringing her tail down here when his light is on is you cursing her smooth out because you told her not to come down here.
All
Well,
right,
that's
pause,
just
pause,
what
pause, pause.
they
Now let's
do.
be real. Now let's be real. What now? Okay, so that happened, and now let's fast forward. It's nighttime. She still remember getting cussed out. Antoine like, hey, let's get busy. She's like, nah, she's still mad from when you cussed her out. So that is why some people think that, hey, there's a kinder, gentler way to behave and talk so that my wife may not be uptight, upset, frustrated, yada, yada, yada. I'm just speaking from a different side of it, Antoine. I don't have any problem with anything you do and how you operate in your relationships. As I said before, if she wants that, she's okay with your boundaries, I ain't got no problem with it because everybody's relationship operates different.
But listen, the best thing if I'm with a girl and she tells me, and I know something's wrong, I can see it on her face, right? She goes, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it right now." Oh, no, let's talk. Oh, I don't want to. I'm just gonna tell her, listen, I just want you to know we are never gonna talk about it, as long as you're good with that. Because I'm telling you right now, I know something's wrong with you. We're never gonna talk about it, right? Because we don't have to. Because obviously you want to handle it by yourself. You don't need me. That's not being hard. That's being giving you what you want. If she says, you know what, I'm busy right now, go do something else. That's the best thing she can tell me because I could find something else to do. So I know that I don't have to hover around you, right? That's not being.
I think at the end of the day, all relationships work based off of what boundaries and what you have said out in the beginning of a relationship, or what you may have even adjusted to as the relationship has evolved.
I think people aren't communicating clearly, and the loyalty and the trust is the two main things I would put. You need to get all this out on the table. So then there's no idiot moment that when you break the trust, you can say you forget or you had a drunk moment.
But see, I'm also a direct communicator too. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I agree with a lot of the stuff that you say about direct communication. But I also have to understand that the other person that I am talking to, I like. So I can't just talk to him any kind of way because I like him. You understand what I'm saying? There's a but see, but
you guys are acting like this is a one-way thing. She has to.
That's not what I'm saying. You just took it that way. I am not saying that it is one way. I am saying that I have to control me. So if I want things to be smooth and I don't want you to bring your ass down here when this red light is on, I'm going to say, sweetheart, I'm doing my thing right now. Please do not come down here when the red light is on unless it's an emergency. That's how you show that boundary. Now, if she pushes it, that's when you curse her out.
So why not just say sweetheart? So again, that's a perfect example. What's wrong with saying sweetheart? What didn't you understand in that sentence that I told you about the red light?
That's when you curse her out. That's why I agree with you. That's why I agree with you.
From the top of the stairs to the bottom, where did the idiot moment come in to talk to me? I just want to know that. Just tell me that.
Jesus
so it can never happen again.
That's really a gorilla.
It can never happen again. So you set the boundary. You make it clear, and now
and then you curse her out like she.
I'm telling y'all, Antoine's wife gonna come with Wi-Fi.
I am not delivering your wife.
Listen to what you guys are saying. She came down the stairs, and now you have to explain to her, sweetheart. I told you when the red lights are.
No. I said that initially. I said that the first time. I said we first get with. No. I said, and then I said after you set those boundaries, if she pushes them, then that's when you are allowed to go off because you set the boundary in the first place. That's what I said.
Coming down the stairs.
Exactly. And when she does, that's when you have the green light, no pun intended, to let her have it because she did something you asked her not to do, and she knew that she wasn't supposed to do it. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I agree with you.
But initially, you said that you would say, "Sweetheart, how many times I'm going to tell you when I have the red light?"
No. I said initially, what I said was initially, I said, sweetheart, I'm down here drawing. Please do not come down here when the red light is on. That's initially, meaning first. I make that boundary right out the gate. Then after that, that's when I said that I would probably either snap or probably say, why are you down here? Like you would, because you pushed the boundary. So I agree with you. But initially, I don't have to talk to her like she a 3-year-old to convey a boundary because she's an adult. You understand what I'm saying? Initially, I don't have to talk to her like I'm like she's a child, even though she may act like it at times. She's still a grown adult. So you got to quit. We as men have to quit patronizing these women and quit talking to them like they kids and actually talk to them like they the grown adults and the grown independent minds that they claim that they be all over the goddamn internet. Now, once they push that boundary, then all bets are off. That's why I said I agree with you.
Escalation.
Do you have to tell kids more than one time to do things?
Yeah. But they got that excuse.
Should you have to tell adults to do things more than once?
No.
Repeat themselves.
So with that being said, take the person out of it. Let's talk about the behavior. If you're doing something over and having to be told over and over, is that not childlike behavior? If I'm talking, no, listen. What I'm saying is that whether or not is that childlike behavior, if we all just agreed that children, you have to repeat things to them because they do things over and over, maybe that they're not supposed to do. So you have to repeat yourself. You have to tell them over and over, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, right? You shouldn't have to tell an adult, don't come down the stairs when the red light is on. Don't come down the stairs when the red light is on. Don't come down the stairs when the red light is on. If an adult is doing that, I'm asking, is that not childlike behavior?
Yes.
So, and how do you address childlike behavior? If I'm addressing childlike behavior, I have to, do you address it? How do you address it? If I'm an adult and I'm addressing a child, there's a certain approach that I make.
Yeah. How old are you?
So
I'm asking her, how old are you that I have to
who's acting like a child cannot not address that adult like the child that they are behaving. And I think
shit.
There you go.
But since you're behaving like a kid, I may as well talk to you like one.
You know,
I mean, are they going to understand it from an adult point of view if they're thinking and acting like a child?
I would say
I'm just asking questions.
I would say initially.
My number is 555.
I've been listening, right, and I hear what Antoine is saying and what he respects. I hear what Chris is saying and what he respects. And the fact that we're going through so many stages of escalation to figure out the nice way to say something, what we're coming up to is that there's no nice way to say, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? So what you do, I would suggest, is alter your schedule. You know what I'm saying? Because if you alter your schedule, eventually you're going to have a conversation that goes to, well, why did you change your schedule? Well, because you keep coming downstairs when I'm trying to work. Why are you?
Because you won't leave me alone.
So you won't leave me alone. So now you got to get them on your schedule, because ultimately what it boils down to is that you can't be a negative communicator to somebody that you believe you're supposed to be with. Now that determines the weight of the relationship. Everybody ain't gonna behave that way. And my point being is that I'm just examining it from the way I'm seeing it. You know, like these the way that the scenario is being presented, I can't completely relate to. But I do believe that in the scenario, you got to find a way to talk to someone the right way, you know, even if they're screwing up, because you have to wear a different role. Like if the head of the household, if you're the leader, you can't be condescending, you know what I'm saying, to people that you want to respect your leadership. So I think that's just the burden of it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's the cost of doing business, and you have a mesh point where the ideals and the loyalty to the relationship have to be met with certain, you know what I'm saying, ways of conveying that. And I don't know if you could talk to somebody crazy and get that.
But Vic, I'm saying in the beginning of a solid relationship, if I say to her, we're together a while, we're doing things, and I say to her, hey, listen, I'm going down to draw for a couple of hours. And if you want to reach me, hit me on the text. Just don't come down and bother me, knock on the door. I don't want coffee. I don't want food. I don't care what's for dinner. I'm done. I need to get this banged out. All right. Put it in the oven. I'll get it later. What are you coming down the stairs for? Like, how clear can I make that across the board?
No, you can't. You can't make it clearer to that. So here's the thing. If you got somebody that don't respect your boundaries, you know what I'm saying, it's something that you're passionate about, then you just get rid of them.
There you go. See that
introduce them to
consequence.
So, all right, so speaking of that, here we go right here. Al Lampkins, appreciate the comment, my brother. Curse her out, consequences, etc. Abusive communication, my brother. Man, so what do you got?
Hold on, wait a minute. When I say curse her out, I don't mean like that. I mean, listen, sweetheart, what made you think that it was okay for you to bring your ass down here when I'm painting when I asked you not to? What is wrong with you? Consequences are going to be for every action. There is an equal and opposite reaction. There are consequences to everything. That's the issue. A lot of, you know what? Nope. I'm not going down that tangent because we already, nope. I'm not doing it. Nope.
Hey, look, I would say this, talking about curse out and consequences. If I have to go that far, I'm not going to be with the person, because I've earned the space to do what I think I've been meant to do. Take the L. Yep. Take the L. Yep. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know how you guys can say that. Like now here's the thing. You got to protect. I'm with you, Ed, for the first time in a long time. Yeah. I'm with you on this one, Antoine.
Thank you.
You just got to be creative about it. You know what I'm saying? But in the back of your mind, hold up, Antoine. In the back of your mind, there has to be consequence for violating what's important to you. That's just ultimately what it is. It's only so long you can violate somebody's boundaries about the thing that they care about before you deal with some passive aggressive behavior and some sort of consequence.
Right.
Antoine, what do you say to this comment?
Which
can
one?
Can you see the comment?
The abusive communication, my brother?
Yeah.
I think that guy's pussified. What the hell are you talking about?
I mean, not don't direct the question at the person. Don't make your response an attack on the person. Hold on. Don't make your attack on the person. Let's just talk about the question.
I think that's an asinine thing to say. What's abusive about it? I didn't say to cuss the person out, but I'm gonna treat them as the idiot they are.
I said that.
The idiot they are. Like he didn't mean it in the sense that I'm gonna get verbally abusive, and that's not even considered abusive communication. That's just letting you know you're an idiot, right? There's certain levels. It's not all the time you're going to be politically correct. But I'm not saying to cuss the woman out. I'm not saying to demean her and all that sort of hoopla. But I'm going to ask her, like, Jesus Christmas, what happened between the stairs and the basement and what I said? Like, I'm not...
So to clarify, so we understand, and it gives us and Al or whoever an opportunity to understand. Like, give us an example verbatim of something that you would say, so we have an example, because it seems like some of these are paraphrasing, or I don't want to get it misunderstood as far as what's paraphrasing. I'm just kind of meaning it like this. So give me a verbatim example of something of the way you might respond to that scenario when you've already said it at the beginning of a relationship. Don't come down here. I'm working. And if the red light is on, don't come down here. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. She comes down the stairs, knocks on the door. You open it up.
This is how I would respond.
I want verbatim word.
Like this. I'm going to open the door. I'm going to say, you got to explain to me something. Between the stairs and the basement. And I told you, I'm drawing. I need to understand, why are you coming down when I specifically said not to? Like, when did the idiot moment start? In the top of the stairs? Before you thought about it? maybe when you reach the bottom. Like, you need to explain to me, because I'm not in the mood to repeating myself. You just took me out of my zone, and I just need to know, did it start on the top? Did you think you want to poke the bear? Like, you need to explain this to me so it never happens again. Ever. That's all. Ever. Like I told you, you can text me, you can emergency 911. Like, just explain that to me. Consider me in a recording studio, and I'm recording, and I hear a stupid knock on the door that ruined the sound. You need to explain to me why you decided to ruin this. What's so important? And I don't care if I don't get it tonight, because I can get it elsewhere. Let's be clear on that. Okay? Let's be clear on that. You know what I mean? Because just remember that the house ain't in your lease if it goes there. I'm making it very clear to you. And this is communication we had before. Because when you tell me you're studying and to find something to do, I'm good with that. You will never see me again until you say, baby, come here. So that's how I would probably respond. You asked.
I asked, and you provided an answer.
That's how I would respond. Because I find it hard to believe that, it's like when people say, oh, sometimes you just gotta, pick your battles, and no.
Here's how I will respond verbatim.
Okay.
Why did you come down here?
Okay.
That's it. And then I'm gonna wait for my response. And I really going to determine what I say after that, really based off of the response. Because if it's been articulated and communicated to her, and it's understood that this is where the line stops, then I know the type of woman that I married. And if she crossed that boundary, she got a darn good reason why she's at that door. Yep. That's me, because I know the type of woman that I chose, right? If it was anything other than an emergency, then the conversation would go farther. What are you looking for? Is it about tension? I would want to know the reason behind why. Like Antoine said, why did you come down here after this boundary has been clearly communicated with, that we don't cross for whatever reason why? So that's kind of how I handle it. I just ask why, and then wait on the response after that. But I'm not giving her a lecture, but that's me. But I did see how someone on the outside looking in could see where the abusive communication may come in. When you said something about the idiot part and stuff like that, when you resorted to the name calling and stuff like this, I think that's where people may look at that as being abusive communication. Because if this is your woman and you love her, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if you call the person that you love an idiot, but also I go back to this, I'm going to say this again. I think that culture has a lot to do with how certain people communicate. I really believe that. I think in certain cultures, it's okay to talk a certain type of way and no one is offended by it. I think in certain cultures, it's offensive to sugarcoat information. So because of all of that, I don't have a problem with anything that Antoine has said. Antoine is from a totally different culture than me. You know what I mean? There were certain things that Antoine saw and certain behaviors that were accepted that may not have been accepted in my home. But I can't say that's Antoine's truth. That's Antoine's reality. That's how he would handle it. I can't sit up here with my naked face and say that Antoine is wrong for doing that, especially if the woman that he chose or the woman that he picked knew how he was and still signed on the dotted line. It's like when you marry Antoine, you already know what you get. And when Antoine is on the show, we already know what we get from Antoine every single week. Good, bad, or indifferent. We know what we get from Chris. We know what we get from Vic. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of whether or not, I don't like the delivery that someone chooses in their relationship, I don't have to like it. At the end of the day, that works for them. And if their relationship, he can call her an idiot, she's okay with it, it's not abusive to me. If that's what their behavior and that's what their love language is. Maybe they use those words. You know what I mean? Me and my wife got certain little words and stuff that we call each other and stuff like that. And people will be like, what? Like, why? But that's how we communicate. So that's why I don't have a problem with anything that Antoine has said, because for him and his, that's how they communicate. And the woman that he bees with is going to understand that that's how he communicates with.
I know that she loves me too. You guys always say, "Oh, the woman." No, she loves me too. She loves me too, right? So she's not gonna poke that bear. She's not gonna be that. She's gonna say one thing to herself: I ain't going down there. I know how he is. I'll text him and deal with it later. If I need him in emergency, it's 911. I don't have nothing to worry about down there. Just like I'm not the type of guy you're gonna get during the week to go, "Oh, baby, just wanted to say I love you." I ain't doing none of that crap. What the hell?
Real quick, because I want to be respectful of everybody's time here and in the chat and at home and everything like this. We usually go an hour and a half. We're an hour and 42 minutes in. If y'all want us to keep rolling, put a 1 in the chat or something like that. We'll keep rolling. And if you gentlemen want to stay on for a little bit longer, let me know. If you guys don't, then let me know, and we'll start wrapping it up. So what you guys think? What you want to do?
I'm good for another 15 minutes or so, you know.
Let's rock. Let's rock.
Let's rock with it. All right. So with that being said, I got 2 quick comments that I want to get to real quick. All right. I want to get to both of them. All right. The first one, I like Al tonight. He got he got everything tonight. There's some other comments. I see them as well, but I kind of like the direction that Al's comments are going tonight for the floor of the conversation. So children act out of line all the time because they're begging for attention. The same thing with adults. Maybe she is asking for attention. And that's why after I saw this comment, I started thinking about, some other reasons why she might be coming down the steps. Because like I said, if I chose the proper woman, I know that there was a reason why she's coming down the stairs. Thoughts?
Yeah, because we're not talking about somebody that annoys you on a regular basis. Like, there's a big difference in how you're going to respond to something. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this isn't a regular event, then you got to make exceptions. There's always an exception, But like, if you chose a woman that's annoying and likes to be an antagonist because she doesn't respect you, she don't care about your craft. So like, why have a woman like that in your life altogether?
Take the L.
Take the L. You know what I'm saying? Because in this situation, if we're thinking utopian, like the woman that's interrupting you at this state, let's believe that she has a reason to interrupt you. You know what I'm saying? Because if she doesn't have a reason to interrupt you other than something that requires your presence, then that's different. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that if it's being done, if it's being perceived in a negative way, you can create a nuisance out of anything. You know what I'm saying? And I think people are reading it to find a negative situation, but nobody's reading it to say, what if she's just annoying? But okay. What if she's actually, but what if she actually has a reason to knock on the door? Because like Unc said earlier, like, if he knows the woman that he's with and she's, you know what I'm saying, interrupted, she got a good reason to interrupt. It's okay to assume that, right? If she respects you.
Yes.
Like, I don't like portraying things as if it's only a negative situation. You know what I'm saying? But like, if we're going to talk about repeating or ending and improving situations that are based on boundaries being violated, we can always find something wrong with the woman.
Okay, so
this is about your leadership being tested when it's time for you to make be adjustable and make a good decision on protecting, you know what I'm saying, your relationship. I get that your passion is important, but you still got to be respectful to the person that you share, you know what I'm saying, your life with. I think that's just me personally.
So you remember that thing I told you I went on 3 dates? Well, I won't get into it, but you know what I mean. The thing that had the one that had potential.
Yeah.
Okay? That potential is done, right? But I'm going to explain it real quick in a nutshell.
Why does that not shock me?
So I'll tell you why. So if I make it clear to you, listen, and this is clear. I'm a communicator. I say to you, listen, you'll never come first before my art. You will never come first before the bills I have to pay, and you'll never come first before my lifestyle. Ever. Like these, I have to maintain this, and these are the things I do. If I have to cancel on you, it's not because I want to cancel on you. It's that these things happen, and I need to attend to it. And it's more important than what you and I have to do. That's it.
Damn.
Right? In a nutshell. But you understood that. You understood that. So one day comes along without any too much detail. Hey, you know what? You say, really? You can't? Nah, I can't. I gotta get this done, and I gotta go see him. And yeah, well, man, your drawing is you're always drawing, and it means more to me. It's like I never take. I mean, you never choose me over it. Yeah, it's not gonna work between us. I don't think it's gonna work between us.
Damn.
It's not gonna work between
And you know, let me tell you though.
really? No, and this is how it is. This is how it was.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong in that though.
He's not wrong. It's just cold.
Vic, I'm glad you brought. I'm glad you brought up.
Say first, and I don't know if he finished yet.
No, and then it was a matter of really, yeah, it's not gonna work. Yeah, but nah. Just but you got comfortable. You thought this would change. You're not gonna change me, and nah, it's not gonna work. Because for you to even ask that question is you down the line thinking I'm gonna change, and I already made it clear to you. Like you said, you would understand that, and you completely understand that. And it wasn't something. I wasn't missing it because of just something mediocre, and I wanted to go hang with the boys. I told you it could happen, it could not happen, and it was business. And then here you are telling me, well, yeah, you always do this and you always do that, and I don't. Nah, it's not gonna work.
Antoine ain't saying nothing that no professional athlete hadn't said to their wife at some point.
Thank you. Practice means more important than you. I gotta practice. I'm the quarterback.
But see, here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you brought up the thing that you brought up earlier about testing a man's lead. That's what she was doing. You set a boundary, and she tested that boundary to see if you will fold. That's what they do. And it's not malicious. It's just nature. They're just goofy like that. And I can understand you taking it and saying this isn't going to work because she tried to push your boundary just to see how much she can get away with. You understand what I'm saying? This is why I said that a lot of men nowadays are afraid of introducing these women to a word called consequence, meaning that something is going to happen if you do something.
They just ghost them.
You understand what I'm saying? And we need to quit being afraid of not getting some. Vagina is important, but it ain't special.
Men that chase box, they have the conflict with this more than the men that don't. You know what I'm saying? Like the decision making pattern for that man that is threatened by sexual, like reciprocity. That thought pattern is way different for those types of guys. You know what I'm saying? The men that are purposeful and dedicated to what they're doing, they were like, hey, man, I don't care if my wife mad at me. I got to go do this. Like the other thing, too, I use professional athlete in that situation because it is a unique thing. And whatever you do to whatever you bring to the table in a relationship is unique to your skill as a man. And the minute that you get your skill and your your passion interfered with, it changes the way you see that person in your life. Exactly. If like in the military, right, man, it is I hate to use the military, but it's a perfect example. It takes a specific type of woman that you can be married to and be without for any period of time, for a significant length of time, with a lot of responsibility that would normally be solely on you. You have to be able to trust them, trust that they're loyal enough to the relationship to, do their part and do the implied things. So if you got somebody that can't follow the basic boundary, then I understand why Antoine would look at them and be like, you know what? No, I can't work with this because, the more seasoned you get in what you do and the more, proficient you become at it, the more momentum you build. And nothing kills your momentum like somebody that doesn't respect your creative space.
Let me ask you, Vic, because this would be a good one for you. If you had a deal closing and you were going on vacation the next day, and the guy says, listen, you unexpectedly called you and said, listen, come over the next day, the day you're leaving, and I got to sign the paperwork. The deal's a done deal. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Do you postpone the vacation or move the flight, or do you do you just go and say, I'll sign in when I get back?
I'm gonna ask if they have a remote closing option.
No, I need the next day. None of that. I need you. I want to close the deal.
So what are my options again? I have to go there physically and go there?
Yeah, you have to sign. Come in. He says, come in. We're going to sign the paperwork. Good. We have a few little words to interact with. Other than that, it's a done deal. We're signing. Come tomorrow. But you're leaving.
Yeah, I'd probably go there and be present because of the way I organize myself. Yeah, for sure. Cool. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to be difficult or nothing like that. Because like when me and my wife travel, you know what I'm saying, we usually have a couple of days on the front of whatever we're doing, you know what I'm saying, right, to allow us some reaction time. So for me, in the way it's formatted, yeah. Now, if it's something that happens outside of that, we'll make an exception. And the loyalty and trust that I have in my relationship gives me the flexibility to go take care of my business without being, you know what I'm saying, looked at negatively or selfishly, because a lot of times most men can probably relate to this. We afford our spouses the comfort to criticize us.
Right. Okay.
So they're going to be flexible to that. If you can articulate that in your relationship, in your actions, in your consistency, and say, you know what, this is an exception, but your entire life can't be an exception, because if the art is equally, we know that the art is important, whatever your art is, right?
Right.
You still can't perform the way you need to if the other things that are in your life are equally important aren't settled either.
Okay, I agree with that. Yeah.
So you're doing yourself a disservice if you put yourself in a negative space and then thinking you can come right back to it. Because if it's important to complete your project, make the exception, treat it as a message, take care of business over there with your significant other, and hopefully you got somebody that can enrich you. So when you go back to what your regular scheduled program is, you might fly right through it.
Right. Okay.
So sometimes you got to treat the interruption as a message to recharge or to regroup or something like that. These are things that I work on all the time because I can get consumed by, you know what I'm saying, the things that I'm very creative, you know what I'm saying, on. So I believe you treat people in your life that you're supposed to have in your life, they're supposed to protect you from you too.
Bingo.
So believe if they interrupt you, it's because they care about you to some degree, and they don't know how to interrupt you either. It's not a skill on how to interrupt you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no blueprint to nothing like that.
So Antoine, I'll answer your question too. Same thing that goes back with who you pick. You know, I am in a situation to whereas if it was business, it wouldn't be an issue postponing the vacation, you know what I mean, for the business. You know what I mean? What am I signing? If it's important and I need to sign it, man, we can move the trip one day or something like that, depending on how important the trip is. Exactly. You know what I mean? Unless it's like, I mean, and I guess I'm speaking from a person who have missed everything. Just like Vic. Me and Vic both did a 15-month deployment. In that 15-month deployment in Iraq, birthdays, holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, anniversaries, graduations, the list goes on and on and on. And you know what? None of those relationships were broken. I was still able to do other stuff, you know. So at the end of the day, a vacation or something like that, those can be planned out again. Right. I understand, but you know, it all depends on, you know, what I'm signing, what the bag look like. You know what I mean? How is that bag going to be beneficial to us outside of whatever that person got going on? You know what I mean? It might be somebody's wedding, but hey, at the end of the day, what is our priority in our relationship? What takes precedence over what? And like you said, if those boundaries are set earlier, man, it won't even be an issue. If you married to the wrong one, it's going to be an issue.
And that's what I and the only reason, like and don't get me wrong, I wasn't some cold stone that it didn't make me feel bad and hurt and all that. I mean, I had my moment. But the thing is this, I've just seen too many, the way social media is talking, the way some of these men are talking out there, I'm like, why are you letting this woman control you like that you miss out on opportunity? Well, I got to do what my woman says, happy wife, happy life, and all that shit. I'm like, what are you talking about? That shouldn't even be an issue. Happy wife, happy life. And it's just on. And the more you get engaged and you listen to channels and you listen to topics, I'm just blown away by these men thinking they have to like bow down. Like it's just puzzling to me. Like, why can't you just, no, you got to lead. That's it. That's how it's going to be. I'm putting my foot down. Anyways.
Everybody ain't raised with leaderships. Not everyone is raised with the same morals and principles. Okay. And a lot of men have been raised by women, so they cater to women a lot.
Jesus.
So, and some men, and even like myself, I wasn't raised with sisters. You know what I'm saying? So, my perception of women is different than a man that's been raised with sisters. You know what I'm saying? Because he's gonna grow up having a different experience with women, you know what I'm saying, in general than other people. So he's gonna set different criteria for himself based on how he saw his mother treated or how he saw his father behave. Because when you're by yourself, you're only operating in the world with the way that you were taught. You can learn some new stuff, but until you have, like a consistent proximity with someone that can judge your behavior, call you out on your behavior when you slip in, correct you, help you, or whatever, you don't have anything that you can fully vet. It's like you can watch football all day, but that don't mean you can go out there and compete.
Yeah.
All you're doing is simulating. You know what I'm saying? What you would do. You laughing right now because because you said earlier you was a quarterback, but you're 150. It's not gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? You just stick to paint. You can change it. You can change your palette. You can change your canvas. You know what I'm saying? Your watercolors, your Sharpies, or whatever you want to paint with. You paint with chalk too, but don't you dare step out of bounds and then talk about playing quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But that's my point, though. Everybody has a lane to be in, regardless, because the thing that brought you, I hate to talk about the table that everybody want to bring something to, but whatever you bring to the table is your lane.
Yeah.
And when somebody crosses into your lane and it interferes with the component, but if you got somebody in your life that interferes with the components that make up your lane, that's your fault.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the ultimate leadership accountability in all of this, right? Anything you dealing with in a relationship that's just occurring between the both of you is your fault to some degree, whether you allow it or you choose not to correct it. So that's the whole point. You can't blame somebody that doesn't respect boundaries because they're not raised the same way that you are, and they testing that with you.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Gentlemen, it's been real. This was a good conversation. I'm glad we went over, the extra half hour. I appreciate Al and everybody, that was in the chat adding comments and stuff like that, regardless of what platform you were on. We will be back again next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another great episode of Elevated Dialogue here on the Unkle Junior Network. With that being said, again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys and gals or whoever that was in here tonight that stayed in and tuned in with us for the entire show. Chris had to roll out a little bit earlier. Coach and Roland wasn't able to make it today. At the end of the day, we still went on, still had a great show. and all those good things like that. So again, see you all again next week, same time, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Unkle Junior Network, for another great episode of Elevated Dialogue. We are out.